Not uncommon at all. I think they estimate somewhere between like 50 and 70% of the population has some form of the MTHFR mutation. So we do know that methylation, the liver is responsible for part of that methylation process. And so if that gene is not, if it's limping on one leg or limping on both legs, it's going to have a little bit of a harder time metabolizing estrogen. That's one of the things that it does through the methylation pathway. Obviously, it has a little bit of a harder time synthesizing vitamins as well, which is why, supplementing with a methylated B vitamin can be really, really helpful with that. But as far as how it impacts hormones, what we typically see is primarily that it makes it a lot harder for the liver to metabolize estrogen, which is where sometimes we can see it's a little bit more difficult for those estrogen dominant symptoms to budge. So symptoms like menstrual migraines or painful breast tenderness, those kind of symptoms. This is probably where more of the like holistic communities like puts their focus is methylation and mood. And that's because if again, we're limping on two broken legs, right? We're not able to synthesize neurotransmitters like serotonin and progesterone. So if we're noticing a lot of mood issues or irritability or low libido, that also can be tied to the MTHFR mutation. If you think about it, so I also have the MTHFR mutation. I only have one of the mutations, which makes it a little bit easier for me to tolerate like even methylated vitamins. But if you think about it, it's like, even if I get that in my diet and, I'm getting all these foods in my diet that support methylation, if my body can't recognize it, break it down and utilize it, it's like, I'm doing twice the work with half of the payoff. Does that make sense? And so for me, I have to supplement. If I want my mood to be stable, if I want, to be managing stress well, because that's one of the other areas that we see a lot with the MTHFR mutation is this kind of feeling of like under constant stress, everything is irritating. It doesn't take much to feel like, the cart tipped over essentially. So that would be my recommendation, especially if there's two mutations, because it's like your body has to work that much harder just to do its normal everyday cellular process.